Hey, we're back on Show Jesus, and this week we're talking about transitions.
And the first verse I have for you guys is Isaiah 55:9, and it says, "As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." And what this verse means is that God's plans are always going to surpass yours. They're always bigger than what you could ever dream of. And they're usually pretty good. I mean, he has to take you through some trials to get there, but they're pretty big and they're pretty great. So if you're going through a change that's hard or that you don't understand, just know that, his plan is so much bigger than you'll ever imagine.
And just to remember through trials or transitions to never put God on the back burner, because that's a really dangerous situation to get into when we even go through a happy change like a marriage or a sad change like we're moving away from all of our friends. A lot of times we start getting more concerns, like worldly concerns during that time, and we just forget to put God in the center, kind of like what we said last week. And no one can be perfect at it. No one spends enough time with God as they should, but it's just keeping Him in the center and at the front is...
Yeah, it's going to help you through the transition anyway. It's going to be better that way. On a personal note for me, I'm originally from Florida, and I had to move to Arkansas, which is where we are now, if you didn't know that. And through that, I also had gained some health issues along with that, which was very scary and a very difficult time to go through. I would say a lot of times, because I was bitter towards God for this, that I was enduring all these things that were very scareful and these changes that I didn't really want to deal with because I had sinned so much that God was punishing me for that, which was not true. That was not at all it, and I'm sure God laughed when I would say that. But it ended up bringing me to a lot of things that I would have never been to without those changes. I wouldn't have been to Show Jesus. I wouldn't do these with Kaylin or Lily. I wouldn't have met Kaylin or Lily. I wouldn't have met Janelle when you guys have met her before. I wouldn't be at the church I'm in or the youth I'm in. And that's all because God took me through those changes. One of the things that I learned through my life, not even necessarily that change alone, was Proverbs 15:22, and that is surround yourself with a godly counsel in a new destination, meaning that if you're going through something that's hard or difficult, you have to remember that the people you surround yourself with affect that so much, because they can either tear you down in that time or they can build you up and encourage you, and then God's plan blossoms. So, seek out mentors and people you can trust and talk to when you're going through something that's scary. That's just something that I really learned a lot about.
And we've definitely talked about that before, especially on our dating one. If you guys watch that one where Lana talks about it's easier for someone to pull you down off of your chair than it is for you to pull them up to the chair that you're on. And that's definitely, we were talking about dating in that aspect also, but it's obviously it's relevant here too. And I think that just talking about transitions, one new thing we wanted to try was to bring in a person out of the Bible. We always obviously bring out verses, but one of the people that's kind of been laid on both of our hearts lately is Daniel, and we've been studying him with kids actually, so it's funny how much you learn when you're teaching kids, but he endured the biggest life change ever when he pretty much had to stop the life that he was living in and go serve King Nebuchadnezzar. And the entire time through that change, he was glorifying God. Even when I would be thinking, how am I going to get out of here? Him and his friends were trying to eat God's foods and nourish their body the way that God would want them to glorify Him. Even with the foods they ate, and they were offered amazing food, and they just said, no, it's okay. And when they were faced with any trial, when he, anything, the lion's den, the fiery furnace, he was like, I'm going to glorify God through it all. And God was there for him. And it's just proof that He is. And another thing that we kind of wanted to talk about is that we kind of, or at least I always plan these things when I'm listening to music. Lana will see me all the time, we'll be worshiping, and I'll sit down really fast, and I'll bring out my phone, and I'll write everything down, and I'm oh my God, it just now came to me, and it'll be 20 minutes before we did the Devo, and it's weird, we change our plans a lot, we'll say things, and then say, never mind, that's not what God's saying us to do, but one of the things that actually our friend Janelle brought to our attention this week is the song by Francesca for something with a
Say
B,
her last
really
name.
long. But it's like, I'm an open page, I'm an open book, come and write your story on my heart. And that is really what sums up what we wanted to say about transitions, is that you don't know what God has a plan for you, but you know that He has a plan, and that we just have to be willing, and His plan will blossom even more. And also another song, How He Loves Us, is pretty much, I always say, like, I got saved to that song because I love that song so much. And it says, if grace is an ocean, we are all sinking. And I think that we have to remember that through transitions, a lot of the times, we can have bitterness, whether it's to God or to our parents for making us move, or through our friends for like betraying us or something, or anything. We can have bitterness towards people or situations, and we have to remember like that we have a plank in our own eye, and that our brothers have a speck in theirs, and that we have to focus on ourselves and God and keep God at the center and not have bitterness towards other people, because in the end it really just is harming us, because we are affected by our bitterness, not them. And it's just something that's really been laid on my heart lately. So see you guys next time.
Bye. So the first verse I have for you guys is Isaiah 59:9. 55:9. And it says, as the heavens are higher than the earth. Threw me off, I saw the wrong.
You're right there to pick me up when you bring Jesus.
How He loves us so.